right, so here is a solving equations flowchart, because a flowchart is just a way of you asking yourself the same questions I usually ask you, okay? So you start out at the top. The way this is going to work is you ask yourself this question. If the answer to that question is yes, you do what it says here. If the answer is no, you go down to the next question. So, can you simplify either side of your equation? So for instance, you look at number 1. So I'm going to do number 1 as I explain the flowchart, okay? Can you simplify the left? Can you combine a 4a and a 3? Nope, they're not like terms. Can you simplify anything over here on the right? Yeah. What does that -7 mean that you got to do? You got to multiply, you got to distribute. So I'm going to bring down my 3 plus 4a equals -7 times 3a is a -21a. -7 times -4 is a +28. So, can you simplify either side? Yes. I simplified the side by getting rid of the distributing. So I'm going to go back to this question. Do you have variables on both sides? Do you have variables on the left and the right? Yep, so I'm going to do this. Use the inverse operations to move variables to one side of the equation. Now, you technically can move variables to either side that you want to, but I'm going to do this as if I'm having trouble and I'm struggling. So what I usually tell students that are struggling is move variables to the left side. So I'm trying to get rid of this -21 and move it to the left. What's the inverse of a -21a? A +21a. What I do to one side, I do to the other. Now you remember, you can draw an imaginary line right here. If you go across that line, you have to use an inverse. So equal sign stays in the middle. 21 minus 21 goes away, and you've got 28. Now what about on this side? You have a 3. What is 4a's plus 21a's? 25a's. Okay. Got variables all on the left, so I'll go to my next question. Is there anything added or subtracted to your a, your variable? You're adding the 3. So, yes. So what I do now is I'm going to use the inverse operation of addition, and what is that? Subtraction, to move it to the other side. So notice what I said. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Now keep my equals in the middle. 3 minus 3 goes away and gives me 25a. What is 28 minus 3? 25. Okay. Took care of that. Now, I got variable on one side, number on the other. Does your variable have a coefficient? Is there a number in front of the variable? Yep. So, right now it's multiplied. You've got to use the inverse of multiply to make that disappear and be a 1. What's the inverse of multiply? Divide. So I'm going to divide both sides. 25 divided by 25 is a. What is 25 divided by 25? 1. And so then that says you're done, and you can check your answer. How would you check your answer? Plug it back in. So I'm going to go back to the original up top. I'm going to plug in the left side. 3 plus 4 times, I think a is 1. Okay. I'm going to plug in the right side. -7, open my parentheses. 3 times my a is 1 minus 4. Because I get the same thing on both sides, what's that mean? You got my friend in. Thank you. What's it mean? That we're right and we're on our way to 100. All right, so now let's look at example 2. Every time you start up here at the top. So, anytime I help you, I would say to you, can you simplify either side? Look at the left side. Is there any like terms over here you could simplify? Yep. So you simplify the side. If you need to distribute, you distribute. If you need to simply combine like terms, you can. Now, I'm going to draw a line right down the middle. Anything on the same side of the line, I just add and subtract like terms. If I have to go across that line, that's when I use my inverse. So since 2p and 2p are on the same side, what's 2 plus 2? 4p. And then I bring down 3. Now look at this side. Can you add a 5p and a -3? No, so you just bring them down. All right, so you ask yourself the second question. Do you have variables on both sides? Yes, you do. So here's what you do. You're going to use the inverse operation to move all the variables to one side. Remember what I told you. I usually say variables on the left, numbers on the right. What's the inverse of a plus 5p? Minus 5p to both sides. Keep my equal sign in the middle. What is 4p minus 5p? Negative 1p. Now, if you like the 1 there, I'm going to scoot this over and I'll put the 1. If you don't need the 1, you don't have to put it. So I bring down plus 3. Okay? I've got negative 3 and my p's disappeared. So now I go back over to my second question. You're trying to get p by itself. Is anything added or subtracted to your variable? Yep, you got plus 3. So yes, if there is, you're going to use the inverse operation to move that constant to the other side of the equation. What is the inverse of a plus 3? Minus 3, minus 3. Now keep your equals in the middle. 3 minus 3 goes away and you've got a negative p. Don't just assume these cancel, okay? All right, so we just used the inverse operation of subtraction. What is a negative 3 minus 3 more? They don't cancel because they're not opposite. Good, that's a negative 6. Okay, then you go back. Does your variable have a coefficient? Now, at first you think, no, it doesn't, but it has a negative, so what's really there? Negative 1. So, yes, it does. Use the inverse to get rid of that times negative 1. What's the inverse of multiply? Divide both sides by negative 1. Negative 1 divided by 1 is a negative 1 is a 1p. What is negative 6 divided by negative 1? 6. So, I'm pretty sure my answer is 6. I'm going to check my answer by going to my calculator and plugging in 6 for every time I see p. So 3 plus 2 times 6 plus another 2 times 6 gives me 27. If the other side also equals 27, I'm right. So negative 3 plus 5 times 6 equals 27. So I know that my answer's right and I'm on my way to 100. All right, let's do example 3. So I got me another flow chart so I can have it all up here at the same time. All right, so I'm looking at example 3 here. My equal sign is where I draw that imaginary line, okay? If it helps you to draw the line, I want you to draw that line. If you don't need it, that's okay. All right, first question. Can you simplify either side of your equation? Can x and negative 4 be added together? Nope, not like terms. Can x minus 6 be added together? Nope, not like terms. So look, we'll go no. Do you have variables on both sides? You do. You can have variables on both sides, so yes, you do. You're going to use your inverse to move those variables over. I'm going to move mine to the left. What is the inverse of this positive x? Negative x. All right, so I'm going to minus x on both sides. I'm going to bring down my equals. Negative 4 goes straight down. What is positive 2 minus 1x? 1x. X minus x went away, and that left us with a negative 6. So now we're right here. Here is the x that you want by itself. Is anything at all added or subtracted to that x? Right there, negative 4. So yes, it is. So we got to use the inverse to get rid of that negative 4. What's the inverse of a negative 4? Plus 4. You're going to do that on both sides of the equal sign. So, bring down my equal sign. Equal sign stays lined up with that line all the way down. What is negative 4 plus 4? This is going to cancel, leave you with x. Okay. What is negative 6 plus 4 more? Negative 2. All right, so we go back to here. Does your variable have a coefficient? Technically, what is it? 1, which is what we want. So do you have a coefficient that you need to get rid of? Nope, you're done. That's your answer. And of course, you can check it by plugging it back in to the left side and the right side of the equation and making sure they match up. All right, so now let's do example 4. So you've got your flow chart. It's going to ask you the same questions. So right here, here's your equal sign. There's your line. If it happens on the same side or that side, then you're just adding, subtracting, multiplying polynomials, okay? It's when you go from one side to the other and you go across that equal sign that you got to use the inverse. So, can you simplify the left side? Is there any math you need to do? Yep. What have you got to do on the left side? You got to distribute. So let me zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to distribute. I'm going to keep my equals in the middle. What is negative 8 times x? Negative 8x. What's negative 8 times negative 4? Positive 32. Okay? Is there anything I need to do on the right side? Distribute the 3. What's 3 times x? And what is 3 times 7? 21. Okay? So, we did what we had to do. Next question is, do you have variables on both sides of your equal sign? You do. So you got to move them. You either move all of your variables to the right or all of your variables to the left, and then the next step, you'll move the constants to the opposite side. I like to say variables to the left. So I'm going to take this variable, and because I have variables on both sides, I'm going to use the inverse. What is the inverse of a positive 3x? I'm going to minus 3x to both sides. Oop, not there. Why am I not going to put it here? Because those aren't like terms. I'm going to put it right here with its like term. Bring down my equal sign. What is negative 8x minus 3 more? Negative 11x. I'm going to bring down plus 32. Now let me finish out this side. What's 3x minus 3x? Gone. That brings down to 21. Okay? So, next question. Here is your variable. That's the only variable you got. Is there anything added or subtracted to that variable? Yeah, you got a plus 32. What is the inverse of plus 32? Negative 32. Oh, geez, Miss Slusher, you got to write the right letter, or the right number. Can't even figure out what they are. All right, keep my equal sign in the middle. So, I use my inverse of subtraction. 32 minus 32 goes away. That leaves you with a negative 11x on the left. Now, this is where I need some help. What is negative 21 and a negative 32? Oh, negative 11. Okay, so back to here. So I'm at my flow chart here. Does your variable have a coefficient other than 1? It does. What I do? Let's see. No, it would be a positive 21 right there because I didn't have a negative on that side. And so then let's double check. 21 minus 32 will give me negative 11. Okay? Good catch. Always make sure I got my right numbers. All right. Does your variable have a coefficient? It does. You're multiplying by negative 11, so you're going to use the inverse. What's the inverse of multiply? Divide by negative 11. Okay? Negative 11 divided by negative 11 is x equals negative 11 divided by negative 11. What's that give you? 1. Plain old 1. Now, you can get 1 as an answer, you can get 0 as an answer, you can get negatives or positives. Most of the time, if we're solving equations, a teacher's going to try to make it be whole numbers, but please understand, they can be decimals, okay? On these, none of these should be decimals because that's how I designed it. But when you solve an equation, you could get a decimal. So let's look at number 5. Okay, start at the top of your flow chart. The first question you ask yourself is, can I simplify either of the sides? Well, 8 being 8, they won't do anything. But over here, what is this 5? What do I recognize it's going to make me do? Talk to me. It's going to make me distribute. All right. There's your equals. 8b plus 8. You're going to bring down your 3. What is 5 times 1? What is 5 times a negative 8b? Negative 40b. All right. Have you finished simplifying both sides? This one's okay. Is this one simplified? Nope. What do you notice? You got 2 like terms right here. So I'm going to bring down 8b plus 8. What is 3 plus 5? 8 minus 40b. Okay, so I simplified both sides. Do you have variables on both sides? You do. So you're going to use your inverse operation to move your variable all to one side. I'm going to move my variables to the left. So what is the inverse of a negative 40b? Very good. Opposite is a positive 40b. You should be paying attention to only me and no one else. So 8b plus 40b is how much?
48b.
48b. Bring down your plus 8. Now, 40 minus 40 goes away, and what are you left with right here? You're left with 8. All right. So now you're on your third question. Is anything added or subtracted to your variable?
No.
You got a plus 8. So since the answer is yes, you're going to use your inverse to move plus 8. How do you undo plus 8? Subtract 8. Now, here's where we're going to see a mistake, okay? Simplify this side first. What is 8 minus 8 going to give you? 0. So you've got 48b. Now on this side, what did you just tell me 8 minus 8 is? 0. You got to write it down. Most of the time we think, ooh, it cancels, it's gone, this is my answer. That's not b equals 48, that's 48 times b. And since we have a coefficient, we've got to use our inverse of addition or, not addition, multiply or divide. How do I undo times 48? Divide by 48. So 48 divided by 48 is a 1b. What is 0 divided by 48? Talk to me. What's 0 divided by 48? 0. Thank you, friend. So my answer here is 0. All right, so my last question here on this page of notes is example 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that line. That helps me to visually see I have a left side and a right side. Anything on the left side, I can combine like terms. If there's anything on the right side, I can combine like terms. But when I go from left to right or right to left, that's when I use my inverse, okay? First question, do you need to simplify either of these sides? You do. Because on this side, you have a 2 and a minus 9. So you've got 6x. What is 2 minus 9? Negative 7. On this side, you have a 6 plus a 2. What is 6 plus 2? Go on, talk to me. What's 6 plus 2? 8. Thank you. All right, so I simplified my left and my right side, so I'm to here. The question is, do you have variables on both sides? Do you have variables on both sides? Yes or no? Yep, so you go here. You're going to use the inverse operations to move both of the variables to the same side. I'm going to choose to move variables to the left. What is the inverse of a positive 9x? Minus 9x to both sides. Okay, keep that equal sign in the middle. If you need to use your calculator to do the math, do that. What is 6 minus 9? Negative 3x, bring down minus 7. What is 9x minus 9x? It cancels, it's 0, and all you've got is an 8. All right, so you're back to here. Is there anything added or subtracted to your variable? Yes or no? Yep, so you go to here. Use the inverse to get rid of a minus 7. So what's the inverse of minus 7? Plus 7 on both sides. Okay, so 7 minus 7 cancels. You got negative 3x. Help me out. What is 8 plus 7? 15. All right, come back to your last question. Does your variable have a coefficient, and that should really say a coefficient other than 1? It does. It's getting multiplied by 3, so how do you undo times -3? Divide by a -3. Equal sign stays in the middle. What is -3 divided by -3? Oh, you're on the other side. You're one step ahead of me. So that'd be x. And now on the other side, 15 divided by -3 is -5, just like my friend said. So if you need this flow chart, I want you to use it, because those are the questions in bold that I keep asking you out loud. But the problem is I can't be in your head to ask you every time. So this tells you what to do with each step.